Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, the one and only One Piece manga breakdown you will ever need. We are your hosts. I'm Franky.
And I'm Robin. Today, we're diving into Chapter 98, Clouds.
And what a title, because a storm is brewing in Loguetown, and our captain is standing right in the eye of it. We open on Luffy, grin on his face, standing on the literal execution platform where the king of the pirates, Gol D gave his final speech.
And we end the chapter with Buggy the Clown standing over that same Luffy on that same spot, ready to finish the job.
It is an all-timer of a cliffhanger. If you want to be right there with us every week as we watch this legend get written, chapter by chapter, make sure you follow the show. You don't want to hear about moments like this secondhand.
You really don't. This is where it all begins. And ends.
Exactly. So let's get into it. The chapter starts off pretty light. The crews hit Loguetown and immediately split up to do their own shopping. It's kind of the last moment of pure, uncomplicated peace they're going to have for a long, long time.
It's a necessary breath before the plunge. Oda is establishing their individual personalities and priorities one last time in the East Blue, and it's done so efficiently. Sanji is immediately captivated by a fish, an elephant trunk tuna from the South Blue. Of course he is.
Of course. The man sees a new ingredient and his brain just shuts off everything else. It's not just about food for him. It's about art. It's about discovery. He's as much an explorer as anyone else on the crew. His chosen sea is just the culinary world. I love it. He's not thinking about the grand line, not about treasure, just about how he can prepare this incredible fish for his friends.
It speaks to his core identity. He's a chef first and foremost. His dream is the All Blue, a place where all ingredients converge. So here, in the last stop before that ocean, finding a fish from a sea he's never been to is like a small taste of that dream coming true. It validates his entire path.
Super true. Meanwhile, Usopp is finding a great deal on eggs, being the thrifty guy he is. This is just as in character. Sanji is thinking about quality, Usopp is thinking about quantity and cost. He's the provider in a different way, the guy who makes sure the ship is stocked and they don't run out of money.
It grounds the crew. We have these larger-than-life dreamers, but someone needs to be concerned with the practicalities of a long voyage. Usopp, for all his tall tales, is often the most down-to-earth member in these moments. He understands the value of a single berry.
Someone has to. And then there's Nami. She's shopping for clothes, which seems frivolous at first, but she's the first to notice something is wrong. She looks up at the sky and says the weather is changing. The way Oda draws her face, it's not just a casual observation. It's a deep, instinctual dread.
That's her navigator's intuition. It's not just a feeling. She's reading the world around her in a way no one else can. The humidity, the pressure, the smell of the air. It's a language she's fluent in. She knows a storm is coming before anyone else does. It's such a core part of her skill set, and Oda never lets us forget it. This is her superpower.
It's more than just a skill, it's who she is. Her entire life has been about predicting patterns, whether it's weather patterns or the behavior of dangerous pirates. She survives by staying one step ahead. Right now, her senses are screaming that something is out of balance.
It's the calm before, and she's the only one who can feel the pressure dropping. While they're all scattered and focused on their own tasks, Luffy has found his own point of interest. He's not shopping for supplies or gear. He's drawn to the heart of the town's history.
The execution platform. And he doesn't even hesitate. He climbs right up onto the most infamous structure in the entire world. Not because it's a grim piece of history, but because he thinks it has a great view.
The sheer audacity is staggering. He sees a place of death, a symbol that kick-started an entire era of chaos and bloodshed, and his first thought is, I bet I can see my ship from here. He says he can see the whole town. He's so amazed. It's pure, uncut Luffy.
That's what makes him so powerful. He doesn't get weighed down by the history or the symbolism of a place. He just experiences it. He's standing where Roger died, and his first thought is, wow, the king of the pirates had a great view for his last moments. It's an insane, hilarious, and weirdly profound take.
He completely strips the symbol of its intended power. The world government keeps it here as a warning, a monument to their authority. This is what happens to those who defy us. But Luffy sees it and treats it like a jungle gym. He's not just ignoring their power, he's completely oblivious to it, which might be even more insulting to them.
A local officer is, understandably, not thrilled about this. He's just doing his job, sees some kid desecrating a historical site, and he tells Luffy to get down, that it's world government property. He represents the normal world, the rules.
And that normal world is about to be shattered. He's yelling at Luffy, trying to enforce order, and then he gets absolutely smashed from off-screen.
By a very large spiked club, a club we all recognize. And attached to that club is Alvida.
But it's not the Alvida we remember from the first few chapters. Oda pulls a fast one here. The huge, brutish woman who terrorized Kobe is gone. In her place is this sleek, conventionally beautiful woman. It's a genuine shock. And Luffy, bless his simple, beautiful heart, has absolutely no idea who she is.
It's one of his best moments. She gives this whole speech. "You are the only man who's ever dared to strike me." She's trying to be seductive and threatening, and he just stares at her blankly. The question mark over his head says it all. He genuinely cannot place her.
It's the ultimate insult, isn't it? She went through this entire physical and, one assumes, spiritual metamorphosis, probably fantasizing about this dramatic reunion where she'd have her revenge, and he just draws a total blank. It's hilarious, but it also tells you everything you need to know about Luffy's worldview.
Exactly. His memory is all about food, friends, and fights. If you aren't one of those three things, you barely exist. She was a minor obstacle he punched on his way to find Zoro. He hasn't thought about her for a single second since.
The Loguetown officers, bless their hearts, try to arrest her, but then we get the reveal of her new power. An explosion hits a nearby fountain, a piece of shrapnel flies at her, and it just slides right off her skin without leaving a mark.
The Sube Nami, the smooth fruit. It makes her skin impossibly slippery, rendering her immune to most physical attacks. It's like her entire body is coated in a frictionless surface.
And apparently, as a side effect, it worked off all her excess body fat and gave her a total makeover. It's a very specific kind of power that raises so many questions about the nature of devil fruits.
Right? What a wild power. Only in One Piece does a devil fruit double as a miracle diet plan. It's a gag, but it also makes her a legitimately bigger threat. She's not just a brute with a club anymore.
It makes you wonder about the classification of these fruits. Paramecia is such a broad category. Is there a whole subset of them that have aesthetic side effects? Does the fruit itself alter the user to better fit its theme? The Bara Nomi didn't make Buggy clown-like, but the Sube Nomi made Alvida a textbook femme fatale. It's fascinating.
And just when Luffy is at maximum confusion, trying to figure out who this slippery lady is, we get the second returning villain. A huge explosion rocks the square, a cloud of smoke, and out comes Buggy the Clown.
In all his glory, he's reassembled, back with his crew, and more bombastic than ever. And he's the one to connect the dots for Luffy, pointing to Alvida and saying her name. Luffy's reaction is just pure, unadulterated disbelief. The panel where his eyes bug out is perfect.
And Buggy is not happy, not one bit. He blames Luffy for his entire misadventure as Little Buggy, having to survive without most of his body parts. His motivation is so wonderfully petty. He doesn't have some grand dream of being the Pirate King, not really. He just wants to murder the kid who humiliated him and shattered his crew.
It's the formation of the Buggy-Alvida alliance, and it makes perfect sense. Two of Luffy's first major enemies, both defeated and humbled by him in very personal ways, now returning together. They're stronger, they have a singular goal, and they found each other through their shared grudge. It's a classic villain team-up.
It's the perfect East Blue reunion tour, and everyone's invited. And they get right to it. They don't monologue forever. Kabaji, Buggy's unicycling swordsman, moves in quickly, kicking up a cloud of dust, and when it clears, Luffy is trapped in the stocks on the platform. Just like that. He's caught.
And with that one move, the parallel is complete. Luffy is now trapped in the exact same device on the exact same stage as Gold Roger was. The history isn't just being observed anymore, it's being actively repeated. The lighthearted fun of the chapter is officially over.
This is where things get serious. The whole tone shifts. We cut away to the Marine base, and we meet the man in charge of this town, Captain Smoker.
The introduction is fantastic. It's a masterclass in establishing a character. He's sitting in a dark room, 2 thick cigars jutting out of his mouth, just a cloud of smoke around him. His face is weathered. He has a huge scar. He feels different from every single Marine we've met so far.
Oh, absolutely. He's not a corrupt fool like Axe-Hand Morgan or a coward like Nezumi. He looks competent. He looks dangerous. He has a presence. When he gets the report about pirates at the execution platform, he doesn't hesitate for a second.
He immediately orders all roads to the platform closed and the port completely surrounded. He's a strategist. He's not just sending grunts to get beat up one by one like every other Marine captain has. He's setting a trap for the entire town. His first instinct is to control the environment.
This is the first time we've seen a Marine act with this level of tactical sense. He's trying to corner them completely. He's hunting. And the name Smoker, I feel like Oda isn't subtle. We know what that means. This guy has a devil fruit. We haven't seen it yet, but you just know he's a Logia user. The air just crackles around him. And then his subordinate shows up.
Sergeant Tashigi. And it's her, the woman Zoro saw in the sword shop who looks identical to Kuina. The resemblance is uncanny. It's perfect.
And my jaw just hits the floor every time I read this. Zoro's childhood friend and rival, the one whose death is the entire foundation of his dream. This is a massive, massive moment. We finally have a name, a rank, a place for this person. She's real, she's a Marine, and she's a sword fanatic. It's too much of a coincidence.
Oda doesn't believe in coincidences. This is a deliberate narrative choice. It forces Zoro's past, his motivation, his entire reason for being to physically manifest in front of him. But it's twisted. She's not his rival in a dojo. She's an agent of the very system he operates outside of.
And she's working directly under Smoker, so Zoro's past and Luffy's new major obstacle are literally walking towards the same location together. The chess pieces aren't just being set, they're converging at high speed. It's a collision course.
Back in the town square, the rest of the crew is starting to feel it too. The atmosphere is shifting just as Nami predicted. The pieces of the puzzle are floating around them and they're just starting to see the edges. Sanji mentioned something weird he saw.
It's such a quick, almost throwaway line, but it's so important. He says he saw a lion with a guy in a teddy bear hat.
Moji and Richie, another part of Buggy's crew. Oda is showing us, the readers, that all the players are in town and converging on this one spot. The whole circus is here. The crew doesn't know the significance, but we do, and it ramps up the tension.
You can feel the net tightening. Zoro notices the streets are eerily empty, which is a direct result of Smoker's lockdown order. He feels the trap, even if he doesn't know what it is. And Nami is just staring at the sky, her face full of dread about the coming storm.
They're all sensing different aspects of the same impending disaster. Sanji senses the enemy combatants. Zoro senses the tactical trap. Nami senses the environmental catastrophe. They're all perceiving the same threat through the lens of their own unique skills, but they haven't put it together yet.
They're all looking for Luffy, and then they find him. Oda shifts the perspective, and we see what they see, looking up at that massive, horrifying platform.
The camera pulls back, showing them in the crowd, their faces turning to shock and disbelief. And at the same time, the Marines get the report. 3 wanted pirates at the platform: Alvida the Iron Mace, Buggy the Clown, and a new one, Monkey D. Luffy.
And Smoker's never heard of him. He has no idea who the real threat is here. To him, Luffy's just some third-string rookie tagging along with 2 known, if minor, East Blue threats. He's about to get a serious, life-altering wake-up call.
Think about what this means for Luffy's reputation, for his story. This is the first time his name is being officially recorded and spoken in the same breath as other established pirates in front of a serious, high-ranking Marine captain. This event, whatever happens next, is his debut on the world stage beyond the small bubble of the East Blue villages. This is where the legend begins to be written by others.
And the final scene of the chapter is it's perfect. It's one of the best pages in all of early One Piece. We're back on the platform. Buggy is giving a grand speech, playing to the crowd, talking about executing Luffy in a flashy way. And Luffy, trapped in the stocks with a giant blade about to drop on his neck, is completely unbothered. He's just trying to scratch his nose.
It's so jarring and so perfect. The camera pulls back to see Nami, Sanji, Usopp, and Zoro staring up in absolute horror. They see the reality of the situation. They see their captain, their friend, seconds away from being killed. Their faces are portraits of panic.
But Luffy doesn't see it that way. He has this unshakable, almost insane faith in his own destiny, in his own luck, in his crew. The idea of dying here like this just doesn't compute for him. He's more annoying by a simple itch than he is by his own public execution. That's the core of his strength right there. It's not just optimism, it's a fundamental certainty.
That contrast is everything. The panic of his friends below, the theatrical fury of his enemies on the platform, the grim satisfaction of the Marines closing in, and his own serene, almost casual acceptance of a life-or-death moment. He's not fighting the stocks, he's not screaming, he's just there.
It's the single most defining image of Luffy we've had so far. He's not scared. He's not even worried. He's just Luffy. And his crew is about to tear this town apart to save him. Super. This is what it's all about. The bonds, the stakes, everything is on the line.
Oda is a master of contrast. The gravity of the historical parallel with Roger, a man who changed the world from that very spot, placed next to the absolute absurdity of Luffy wanting to scratch his nose. It makes the moment both epic and deeply personal. This isn't just about a pirate being executed, it's about our friend being in trouble, and him not even realizing how much trouble he's in.
I've got chills just talking about it. The whole chapter is a masterclass in building tension. Every single plot thread, the scattered crew, the returning villains, the new competent Marines, the literal storm in the sky, it's all converging on this one single point in space and time.
It's a perfect storm, literally and figuratively.
Okay, before we get into what might happen next, we want to hear from you. If you have a theory on how Luffy gets out of this impossible situation, drop it in the comments below. We read every single one.
I am genuinely curious to see the predictions. There are so many ways this could go.
Right? Okay, my turn first. Prediction 1. Zoro and Sanji are going to be the first responders. They're going to hit the square like a two-man army. But I don't think they'll get to the platform right away. I see a huge brawl kicking off at the base with the Buggy Pirates, Kabaji, Muji, Richie, the whole lot, while Luffy is still trapped up top. It's going to be a mad scramble just to get to the stairs.
A classic distraction play. I can see that. My first prediction is about Zoro and Tashigi. They are going to have a confrontation, and it is going to completely derail Zoro's focus. He's going to hesitate. He'll move to cut down the platform or attack the Marines, and she will be the one to intercept him. Seeing Kuina's face, holding a sword, wearing a Marine uniform, it will be the first time we see his conviction truly shaken.
Oh, that's good. That's a huge character moment waiting to happen. For my second prediction, I'm thinking about Smoker. He's going to ignore Buggy and Alvida completely. There's small fry to him. He's going to look at the three pirates on that platform and, for some reason, call it intuition, call it experience, he'll recognize that Luffy is the one that matters. He'll go straight for him, maybe even using his devil fruit power for the first time, which will just add to the chaos.
That fits his character. He seems perceptive, able to see past the noise. My second prediction is that a third party will intervene, someone we haven't seen yet in Loguetown. It won't be a Straw Hat who saves Luffy from the blade. It'll be an external force that no one sees coming. Perhaps another powerful figure passing through the town who has their own reasons for not wanting to see a new era begin or end just yet.
An outside factor. I like it. A wild card. Okay, last one for me, and it's all about Nami. That storm she's been predicting, it's not just background dressing. It's not a metaphor. It's the solution. It's going to be the thing that saves him. I'm talking a bolt of lightning hitting the execution platform at the exact right second. An act of God, or maybe just the craziest luck in the world, frying the mechanism or shattering the platform itself.
The heavens themselves intervening. It would certainly fit the larger-than-life themes we're seeing. My final prediction is less about the action and more about the consequences. Buggy's execution attempt will obviously fail, but the image of Luffy on that platform, smiling in the face of death just like Roger did, that's the story that will get out. That's the moment that will be reported around the world and cement his legend. The event itself is less important than the historical parallel it creates. Someone, somewhere, will see that image and understand its meaning.